Ever spend some time thinking about all the little weirdos in Mario Kart World? And I don't mean the toads or the zebras or the manta rays that wear goggles despite being marine creatures, by the way. I mean the playable weirdos. There's no real name for these things, so I've just been calling them comic characters. There's 26 of them in total, and there has to be a reason why each one of these little guys was given a driver's license and unfettered access to public roads, right? Well, honestly, I've been giving it some thought. And I think I figured it out. In a word, capitalism. That's right, the Mushroom Kingdom free market has allowed each and every one of these freaks and geeks to amass some kind of a fortune, or at least enough cash in hand to buy themselves a ticket to the races. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's start with Nabbit. I honestly couldn't tell you what's going on with this dude or even what he is. What I can tell you though is that Nabbit made it in based on profits from his very successful shipping company, Nabbit Courier Services. I mean, you gotta have some funds to be able to afford billboards and a fleet of double trailer semi-trucks. Another shipping competitor is Spike, though his operation's a lot smaller in scale than Nabbit's. You can't ship too much with them, but you can guarantee the safety of your delivery because Spike will be sure to throw massive iron balls at anyone who comes anywhere near the pickup they use to ship the packages. Spike supplements this income with Spike Spokes, and I never thought about it, but I guess bike spokes do have to come from somewhere, huh? Wiggler's companies are a lot more laid back. This massive caterpillar runs Wiggler's Sightseeing and Wiggler's Flower Shop. The former is a competitor to Rosalina's bus tours, but I'll admit they're not doing quite as well as the Interstellar Princess. The latter is easier to explain, but I gotta ask, are these Wiggler's flowers? Like from its head? Is this a bouquet of little body parts? The Hammer Bro runs a repair service. That's simple. Hammer Bros? I have to assume one dude can't manage the whole shop by himself, right? I do have to take a second to address the imagery here, though. Why is he holding a wrench? Why are there wrenches on the cars they own? His name isn't Wrench Bro, I can tell you that right now without the full month of research I already put into this topic. On the other hand, having Shy Guys drive around little cars with a stick of bamboo on the back to do a trick off of is very cute. That's good advertising. Monty Mole owns a coal mining company, which is way more real than anything I've mentioned so far, to be honest. I couldn't exactly tell you where they're mining, or the overall environmental impact of this, but I do know that without them, we wouldn't have the Sunshine Railway. The train keeps a-rollin'. You might be a little shocked about this next one, but even the fish has its own income. Come on down to Lagoon City. You know, the actual name of the city where the Salty Salty Speedway course is. To get your cart cleaned up at the Cheap Premium Car Wash. Doesn't seem like a huge source of income, but there is another thing, although I feel weird about this one. Cheap is used as the logo for the seafood restaurant, which has locations in Lagoon City, Crown City, and a special pop-up in Peach Beach. Sorry, make that Peach Resort, because that's another place that people are getting confused for the name of the course that happens to run through it. I kinda hope that Cheap doesn't run these, because again, that's morbid as hell. But maybe it's a tofu seafood, and Cheap gets paid to be the model? Crossing my fingers here. Before I forget, you can also visit Seafood Restaurant if you ever spend an overnight at the 1-Up motels you find on the side of the highway sometimes. Okay, moving on. Conkdor. It makes headlights. Cute billboard design, right? Anyway, if you don't get those bright-ass LEDs out of my face right now, I'm gonna put this bird on the endangered list. Swoop, on the other hand, does interiors. I personally don't feel like an animal with no hands is gonna do a great job of cleaning my car, but there's like this smell in there, and the windshield is a little foggy. Why? My dry ice machine broke, and a skunk got in. Yeah, that's it. Just clean the car and stop asking questions. Swoop's lack of arms makes Sting Bee's business profile a little more believable, I guess. But I'm still very confused as to how this insect is doing the high-level chemical engineering necessary to create biofuel. I would have to assume they employ scientists, but again, where does a bee get the funding for that?
Where? Where's the bee?
There's a bee.
Coin Coffer is much easier to explain, especially once you've spent some time in Crown City. What does the living coin purse full of money do? It runs a bank. Get it? It runs a bank? Because it runs around... Okay, you know what? Never mind. Let's move on. God, that was a bad joke. The cow. The most popular Mario character of all time. See, Cow runs a high-profile tech security team that... No, I'm just kidding. The cow was sent by Moo Moo Meadows to represent them in races, like how Tony Stark put himself in that one race in Iron Man 2. There's no business operated by bovines, that would be ridiculous. And no, by the way, the cow eating a burger is not cannibalism, it's an impossible burger. It's all tofu down here, folks. Now, the penguin is a little more interesting. Oh, my bad. Wrong penguin. Sorry, Colin Farrell. This penguin right here is responsible for penguin bobsleds. What does penguin bobsleds do? That's actually a really good question. At first I thought maybe they made the Stellar sled, but then I realized that's a Rosalina Automobiles creation. You can see the logo on the side. Maybe they make actual bobsleds? But there aren't any of those in the game. I honestly think that they get paid just to carve these little slopes into the ice roads near Starview Peak, and that's it. I mean, hopefully they got paid well. Up next is the Dolphin. Honestly, a very simple business acumen here. Dolphin Marine Sports made the Dolphin Dasher bike, and they produce sailboats too. I want to say there's more to it than that, but I don't think that there is. Okay, we are running out of little guys here. Second to last is Parabitty-Bud. You know, the M&M with eyeballs and wings? Side note, I gotta wonder why they chose this one and not just the regular Bitty-Bud. Meanwhile, we got Koopa Troopa but no Paratroopa. Goomba but no Paragoomba. Only the red rainbow Krabby Patty with the face. Not even the other colors, too, which is whack considering the fact that they're all already modeled into the game. Anyway, these things run a construction company. You can see how effective their lack of hands are when it comes to building by checking out Dandelion Depths, which I'm assuming is still in the middle of construction? You cannot possibly tell me that this is an OSHA-approved building site. Alright, last guy. Chargin' Chuck, which actually has hands and a face, builds monster trucks. More specifically, they built the Chargin' Truck. Although I feel like that's a bit obvious. Chuck also happens to own Choco Mountain, by the way. That's where they build the trucks in the first place. And that's the list. Well, kinda. We've actually got 11 more comic characters that don't have their own major sources of income, but I can explain that too. Goomba and Peepa are Nepo hires. They wouldn't be in if Bowser and King Boo didn't pay for their minions' entries. Sidestepper is here because of all the marketing they did for Seafood Fish Market in Lagoon City, which was contracted to them by Cheep Cheep. Dry Bones Burnout couldn't be used as a course unless Mario signed a licensing deal to include Dry Bones itself, and the Skeletal Koopa used those connections to get Fishbone in. Similarly, Rocky Wrench just showed up and refused to leave once Airship Fortress got added into the mix. Piranha Plant is the most interesting, as they actually saved up all those coins they bit off of people during 8 and Tour to buy an entry. Pokey is only here because they needed the character select screen to end in an even number, and Cataquack and Pianta won an online contest and were sent free plane tickets to fly in from Isle Delfino. Finally, the only reason Snowman made it in is because Donkey Kong got bored while waiting for the final roster and built one, and Mario went, yeah, okay, alright, you know what, sure. Thanks for watching. I hope this cleared up some confusion as to why the roster is the way that it is. If you liked the video and you want to see more, there's probably a couple buttons you could click somewhere to let somebody know about that, but what do I know? I just work here. See you around. Stick right here for more in the Mario Kart world of business.